Come walk with me for just a minute. It's a little after 7 on a late August morning, the grass still cool under your slippers, and there it is, that patch you've been staring at all week, brown, crisp, crunching like old cornflakes, and your heart sinks a little, doesn't it? Because you're already doing the math, the cost of tearing it all up, the weekend on your knees, the bags of new seed leaning against the garage wall. Well, my friends, before you spend one single dollar, I want you to hold on, because there are 2 things I need to tell you this morning, and they're going to change how you look at that brown patch forever. The first is a little 5-second test. It costs you nothing, and it tells you in an instant whether that lawn is worth saving or truly gone. Get this one thing wrong, and no feat on earth will help you. And the second, well, the second is the fun one. There's a single liquid, one that the fellows who keep golf courses have quietly used for decades, that can turn a pale, tired lawn, a deep, rich, envy of the neighborhood green, in about 48 hours. Not weeks, days. And it isn't even a fertilizer. I'll tell you exactly what it is a little later, so stay with me. But that liquid, and every other one we talk about today, is money poured down the drain if you skip the test first. So let's start there. Before we bend down, do me a kindness. Down in the comments, tell me what your lawn looks like this morning, and what corner of the country you're writing in from. A summer in Georgia and a summer in Michigan are 2 very different animals, and it changes everything. I read every single one. Now, let's talk about that word, dead. Here's the quiet truth almost nobody stops to explain. When the heat comes and the rain stops, grass does something old and wise. It pulls its life down out of the blades and into a little knot at the base, right where the leaves meet the roots. Gardeners call it the crown, and that crown is the beating heart of the whole plant. The blades on top can turn brown and brittle and look completely gone, but as long as that crown is alive down in the cool soil, the plant can rebuild itself from scratch. That's why a lawn can look like a lost cause in August and be soft and green again a few weeks after the first cool rains of September. My grandmother had a name for it. She called it the lawn's summer nap. She never once panicked over a brown yard in July, because she'd watched it wake up green every single September of her long life. So when you look at that sad patch, don't picture a corpse. Picture an old friend, hunkered down, waiting for a reason to come back up. And here's that 5-second test I promised you. Reach down, grab a good handful of the brown grass, and give it a firm, honest tug. If it holds on and fights you a little, the roots are alive, and that lawn is only sleeping. It will come back. But if it slides out easy, no more resistance than a strand of hair, then those roots are gone, and that spot needs new seed, not feeding. One more clue. A sleeping lawn browns out evenly, all over. A dead one shows sharp, ragged patches while the grass around them stays green. Do that tug test first, my friends. It costs you nothing, and it saves you everything. So say you did the test, and your grass held on tight. Wonderful. It's only sleeping. Now let me give you the honest, no-nonsense recipe to wake it up. The one that brings a tired lawn roaring back in about 2 weeks. And I want you to notice something. The most powerful feed on this entire list is nearly free, and 9 gardeners out of 10 get it completely wrong. It's water. Now don't you dare click away, because this is the secret the fancy bottles pray you'll never learn. A sleeping lawn is sleeping because it got thirsty in the heat, so the single most powerful thing you can pour on it isn't a potion. It's a deep, slow, patient drink. And here's where folks go wrong. A light sprinkle every evening does more harm than good. It teases the roots up to the surface where the sun burns them. What you want is a good, deep soaking, once or twice a week, so the water reaches down where the roots truly live, about an inch and a half, over the week. And here's an old-timer's trick so you know when you've watered deep enough. Set an empty tuna can out on the grass while the sprinkler runs. When it's caught about an inch, you're done. Or take a long screwdriver and push it into the soil an hour later. If it slides in easy for 6 inches, you've done right by your lawn. If it stops short, keep the hose going. No fancy meter needed. A tuna can and a screwdriver. And here's an honest warning, because this is exactly where folks get stumped. If your lawn has baked so bone dry that the water just beads up and rolls off to the low spots instead of soaking in, then no feed on earth will ever reach the roots. It's a real thing. and it's more common than you'd think on a hard August lawn. There's a simple way to break that surface so the water soaks straight down, and I walked through the whole of it in another video I'll leave a link to. But do check for it first, my friends, because a feed that can't get into the ground is a feed wasted. Now, water wakes a lawn, but to make it thick and green, it needs food. And the finest gentle feed I know goes all the way back to the old coastal farmers. Fish. The native peoples taught the first settlers to bury a fish under every hill of corn, and they grew tall and green for it. Fish emulsion is simply that same wisdom in a bottle. Fish, broken down into a liquid, absolutely loaded with the nitrogen that green, leafy grass craves more than anything. A few dollars a bottle, and a little goes a long way. Diluted and watered in, it feeds gently, without the harsh burn of the strong stuff, and it feeds the life in your soil at the very same time. And while your lawn is waking, do one more free thing. Raise your mower blade. Cut tall, around 3 inches. Those longer blades shade the soil, hold the moisture in, and grow deeper roots that can find their own water in a dry spell. Scalping a lawn short in a heat wave is one of the surest ways to send it into a hard sleep. So let it grow a little shaggy in summer, my friends. It knows what it's doing. Deep water, a gentle fish feed, a taller cut. Do those 3, and a sleeping lawn greens up in 2 to 4 weeks. That is the honest miracle, and it costs you almost nothing. But I did promise you something faster, didn't I? Something dramatic. So let me finally tell you about that golf course liquid, because this is the one that'll make your neighbors stop their cars. It's liquid iron. Chelated iron, to be exact. Now, here's the wonder of it. You know how a good lawn fertilizer makes the grass grow so fast you're out there mowing twice a week chasing it? Iron does something different, something almost magical. It gives you that deep, dark, rich green color, the color you see on golf greens and show lawns, without pushing all that extra growth. Just the color, not the extra mowing. And it works fast. On a pale, tired, hungry lawn, you can see the color change in as little as 24 to 48 hours. There are turf men who've watched a sprayed lawn deepen in color within a couple of hours on a warm afternoon. That's not weeks of waiting. That's this weekend. The chelated kind is what you want, because that little word means the iron stays available to the grass and soaks in through both the leaf and the root. You mix it up, you paint it over the lawn with a hose-end sprayer in the cool of the morning or evening, and then you leave it be. No watering right after, so the blades can drink it in. Now let me be a straight-shooting friend with you, because that's the whole point of this channel. Iron gives you fast, glorious color on a lawn that's alive but tired. It is not going to raise grass whose roots have truly died, and it's the color it corrects, not the deep health. Water and food are still what truly revive and sustain your lawn. Think of iron as the beautiful finishing coat of paint, laid over a foundation you built with water and a good feed. But oh, what a finishing coat it is. And here's the insider trick. The pros know that nobody tells the weekend gardener. Iron stains. It'll leave rust-colored marks on your concrete, your walkway, your good shoes, quick as anything. So before you spray, wet down or cover any pavement near the edges of your lawn, and wear your old boots. Handle it with a little respect, and you'll get that golf course green, with none of the mess. Now, I've done a whole separate video digging into iron for your lawn, and I'll leave a link to it below for those of you who want the full story. For today, just know, this is the one liquid on the list that gives you that fast, dramatic, jaw-dropping color. It earns its place at the top of the class. And I'll say this plainly, so there's no mistaking it. If you do only one single thing off this whole list, and you want to walk outside and see a real change with your own 2 eyes by the weekend, this is the one. On a living, tired lawn, iron gives you just about the surest, fastest visible result in all of lawn care. That's as close to a sure thing as I know. All right, we've covered the real workers. Now let me run you quickly through a handful of gentle helpers. Little things you very likely already have around the house that give a small, kind boost. Nothing dramatic, but free, harmless, and every bit adds up. There's liquid seaweed or kelp. This one isn't a heavy feed at all. What it does is help a stressed lawn simply cope with the heat and the drought. Think of it as a warm blanket for grass that's had a rough go of it. There's compost tea, made by steeping good compost in a bucket of water. I'll be honest, as a fertilizer, it's not much more than plain water. So don't let anyone sell you a fancy machine to brew it. But it's a mild, kind splash of living soil, and it won't hurt a thing. There's worm castings tea, and doesn't this take us right back to the earthworm? Steep a handful of castings in water, and you've got about the gentlest natural tonic there is. And here's a thrifty one that always makes folks smile. Old aquarium water. If you or the grandkids keep a fish tank, the next time you change that water, don't pour it down the drain. Carry it out to the lawn. All that fish waste is a mild, free little nitrogen feed, something you were about to throw away, turned into a meal for your grass. And there's molasses, a splash of that dark syrup in warm water. Now, you'll hear big claims about molasses greening your lawn and driving off bugs. Most of those don't hold up when the scientists look closely. But as a small, sweet snack for the microbes down in the soil, it's harmless. Just dissolve it well and water it in, or every ant in the county will come to your sugar party. Now, my friends, lean in close, because here's where I earn your trust. There are 3 famous liquids that everybody, every list, every video, tells you to use. And I'm going to tell you the honest truth about all 3. And I promise you, the truth is going to save you money and set your mind at ease. The first is beer. Oh, the old beer trick. Pour a can on the lawn to wake up the soil. It's a charming tale, passed around for over 100 years. But here's the gentle truth. The yeasts folks imagine are working magic are long dead by the time that beer's in the can. What you're really pouring on is a splash of water and a trace of sugar. So keep the good beer for the porch, my friends. Honestly, it'll do you more good keeping you company while you admire the work you've already done. The second is Epsom salt. Now, I've done a whole video on this one, so I'll keep it short. Epsom salt gives your lawn magnesium, and magnesium is a real part of how grass makes its green. But, and here's the whole thing, it only helps if your soil is actually short on magnesium. Many soils aren't. If yours already has plenty, sprinkling it about does precisely nothing. It isn't a scam, and it isn't a miracle. Save it for a nice soak in the bathtub, unless a soil test tells you otherwise. And the third is the one I most need to be honest about, household ammonia. You'll see it crowned the most powerful feed of all, because it does carry nitrogen. But my friends, the ammonia under your kitchen sink was made to clean floors, not to feed a living thing. The extension folks at the universities are clear as day about it. Its strength changes from one bottle to the next, so it's terribly easy to scorch your grass brown. And you must never, ever mix it with bleach or anything containing bleach, because together they make a truly dangerous gas. So here's my honest counsel, gardener to gardener. Leave the cleaning ammonia under the sink where it belongs. If your lawn wants nitrogen, that gentle fish feed gives it the very same thing, safely, with no risk of burning your grass, or, far more important, no risk to you. There's no shortcut worth your safety, not ever. Now, before I give you the last 2 secrets, let me head off the one letter I get more than any other. Someone writes in and says, I try to feed and nothing happened. And nearly every time, my friends, it comes down to one of 5 small things. So let me hand you the checklist, and you'll sidestep almost every disappointment a gardener ever runs into. 1. They fed a lawn that was truly dead, not sleeping. That's why we do the tug test first, always. 2. They fed it while it was still brown and dormant, before waking it with water. Water first, food second. 3. They forgot to water the feed in, so it sat on the blades and burned or blew off instead of soaking down to the roots. 4. They went too strong, thinking more must be better, and scorched the very grass they meant to save. Gentle, and even beats strong and patchy, every single time. And 5, the big one. Their soil never actually needed what they were pouring on it in the first place. Run yourself down that little list, and I promise you, it isn't that the feeds don't work. It's that one of those 5 quietly got in the way. Clear them out, and the results come. Now, there's the list. But if you've been with me this long, you know I'd never leave you with just a bucket of drinks to pour, because the truth is, the liquid is only half the story. And I've saved the 2 most important secrets for last. The first is the mistake even seasoned gardeners, folks who've been at this 30 years, still make. They feed a lawn while it's still sleeping. When grass is brown and dormant, it simply cannot use the food you give it. It's like setting a big supper in front of someone fast asleep. Worse, all that fertilizer can stress or even burn the resting plant. So the order matters more than anything. Wake it first, with a deep drink of water. Only once you see the green returning, once it's up and hungry, do you bring out the feed. Water wakes, food nourishes. In that order. Get that right, and everything else falls into place. And the second secret is the one that explains all the confusion you've ever heard. Have you ever wondered why a feed works wonders for your neighbor and does absolutely nothing for you? Same product, opposite results. It's not luck, and it's not magic. It's this. Your neighbor's soil happened to be short on the very thing that feed provides, and yours wasn't. That's the whole trick behind every miracle story ever told. And the only way to know what your ground is truly hungry for is a simple, cheap soil test. Your local extension office will do one for a few dollars. It takes the guessing out of everything. So don't throw a dozen potions at your lawn and hope. Ask the soil what it wants, and give it just that. That one little test will save you more money over the years than anything else I could tell you. So there it is, the whole picture. And do you feel how it all comes back around to that first, simplest truth? Most lawns folks give up on were never dead at all. They were thirsty. They were tired. They were sleeping, waiting for someone to give them a reason to wake. Care for what's still living. Only start fresh where life has truly left. That's the whole secret, wrapped up in a single line. And what if your tug test back at the beginning told you the hard truth, that a patch really is gone? Don't lose heart, my friends, because you still walk away with a win today. That bare spot is your fresh start. Loosen the top of the soil with a rake. Scatter good seeds suited to your part of the country. Press it in firm so it makes real contact with the earth, and keep it just damp until it sprouts. For most of us, early fall is the sweet spot, when the ground's still warm but the air has cooled. So whichever way your test landed, you have something to do today that truly works. Feed the living. Gently replant what's gone. Nobody leaves empty-handed. You know, back in 1881, an old and famous scientist named Charles Darwin published the very last book of his life. And do you know what he chose to spend his final years studying? Earthworms. Humble little earthworms. He came to believe those small, silent creatures had, over the ages, built the rich living soil that feeds every plant on this green earth of ours. He understood what we forget all the time. A healthy lawn is not grass on top of dead dirt. It's a partnership, grass above, and a whole living world of worms and roots and tiny creatures below, all working together like good neighbors. Feed the soil, and the soil feeds the grass, season after season, on its own. There was a farmer and philosopher in Japan, Masanobu Fukuoka, who spent his whole life teaching that the wisest gardening is often the gentlest. Do the few right things, and then trust the season to do the rest. I've never found better advice. We don't force a lawn back to life with worry and harsh chemicals. We give it water, a little honest food, a taller cut, a splash of iron if we want that glorious color, and then we trust the earth and the turning of the year to do what they've always done. Now, before you head inside, I'd truly love to hear from you. Did your mother or your grandmother have a garden you remember? Some little trick she swore by? Some feed she mixed in an old coffee can that the family still passes down? Tell me about it in the comments. And if you've ever brought a lawn back from what looked like the dead, tell us what you used and how long it took. The real stories from real yards help folks far more than any label on a bottle ever could. And let me set your expectations honestly, so you know just what a win looks like. You may not have a magazine cover lawn in 14 days, and anyone who promises you that is selling something. But you will see it change. Greener, fuller, coming back to itself, day by day. That is the result, and it's a real one. And it isn't one and done, my friends. Stay with it. A good deep drink, and a gentle feed every few weeks through the season, and that lawn just keeps getting better under your hands. The folks with the loveliest yards on the street aren't the ones who found some secret potion. They're the ones who showed up, gently, again and again. That's the whole quiet secret of it. And here's a little challenge for you. Go on out today, do the tug test, give that sleeping lawn a good deep drink, and snap a photo. Then take another one 2 weeks from now. I have a feeling you're going to be amazed at what was only sleeping all along. Share this with a neighbor who's about to tear out a lawn that could still be saved. Thank you for spending part of your morning with me. Go trust the season, my friends. I'll see you next time.